Hello and welcome to Ivory Blush Roses. Today is October 3rd, day 3 of our CQtober 2024. I've got my block, my threads, my needles, pin cushion, and we have our bowl of strips that have our seams on it. So let me just pick one. Oh, we got a whole bunch there. We want just one. Okay, there's one. What does it say? It is a straight feather stitch. So that is what we're going to work on today. So straight feather stitch, one of my very favorite stitches. Now we've been working around this corduroy. I had that idea of sort of working from the center out. Where do I want to do this one? I don't have to do them all right here. I'd kind of like to get away from that for today. I'm actually thinking about going over here and wonder what would go well over here. Let's look at this one. How would that one go? You know, I always try and find that good contrast. We also have this nice, rather dark orange one. So this one's a more steady orange. I actually think, I like lesser variegation there. So let's go ahead and use this one. I've got my needle threaded, and we're going to do this straight feather stitch coming down here. Again, I'm trying not to do it so there's a definite way that's up, but this is one of those stitches that has direction to it. So I'm going to do it this way. We did this one where the up is over here, so we'll vary them as we go. This is one of those busy corners right here. Rather than coming with that thread right down the seam, I'm going to do like we did here and stitch it slightly off to one side. So I'm just making a series of V's off of that central line, and I'm going to try and keep them as even as possible. So I do think I'm going to attempt to go pretty close to the edge on that. Not quite so far over this time. Let's see if we can do that. And I think I'm just going to come down this green patch. I'm not going to come the whole way down. I think like I've found before, I have to almost exaggerate my stitches on this so that it doesn't get lost in the nap of the fabric. We may have to come back and tighten this one up after it's done. And trying to make sure I'm coming up in the fabric and not just in the pile of it that hangs over the edge. So let me know in the comments what you think you would do for the extras on this one. What would you be using? Would you try lazy daisies, which we've done quite a bit of so far, French knots, straight stitches, or pistol stitch, or those twisted lazy daisies? All right, and we're going to end it right there, and that's good. Like maybe I was a little skimpy on fabric here at some of these edges. We'll fix it in post, as they say. Let's look and see what we want to do here. I'm actually thinking I'm going to use straight stitches on this one. What if we go with this more brownish gold? And I want to just come off and do little sprays off the end, I think, with this. And this will be nice because it sort of picks up this color here. And we'll pull it through, and yet it shows up on that. Let's actually start down here at the bottom. It doesn't really matter on this one, just whichever way feels more comfortable. And I'm going to do just a little series of straight stitches, but I'm going to do them in sets of 3, I think. We'll see how 3 looks, and then if that works, then we'll keep going with it. Again, not pulling too tight. I don't want to lose the stitch in the fabric. Always do the middle one first, like we've talked about before. I actually think we need... Nope, I know what we're going to do. We're going to keep up with 3. I'm going to make them ever so slightly bigger than what I just did there, I hope. And I'm just going to alternate this going up both sides. On this fabric, that thread does get lost just a little bit. But it looks great on this green. I sort of think they look like little turkey tracks. I don't know why that seems to be the thing that I think they look like. I've heard these triad straight stitches referred to as T-Rex tracks. I'm going to just try working these side to side, especially on this left side where it's a little harder to stitch consecutively for me. I think we're just going to do that. I think 3 is easy enough to do that with. If it was 5, I would still always do that middle one first. We'll see how it goes. If it starts looking bad, then we'll revert and do it the other way. But I'm at a point today where I want to get this done. Hopefully get a video up today. We'll see if all of my ministrations to the editing program have been effective. I actually uninstalled it and reinstalled it. We'll see if that worked, if it did the job. I've been editing for months with no issues, and so it's been really frustrating to suddenly have all these issues when everything was going well. But I had 2 videos that I was unable to upload. And while I consider myself pretty proficient technologically, this one was just beyond me. I've not been able to figure it out. It's been consuming my existence for the last week. I was trying to stay on top of things, and that really threw it off. So my heart goes out to everybody who's been affected by the hurricane. Such incredible devastation. It's just mind-boggling, the amount of devastation. And I know I have friends in Wyoming who are affected by some of the wildfires there. Really difficult to go through those things, having lived through similar things myself on more than one occasion. I'm just trying to make sure I'm getting my edges tucked in. And this is one of those busy corners that I'm thinking I'll probably do a motif over. I'm thinking I should have been a little bit more generous on fabric in these corners. Alright, and that should finish off that portion. Alright, there's that. Yeah, I gotta do a little tuck in there to get that situated. But I'm happy with the way that's looking so far. And now I want to bring in something extra. And so let's use this one that we were looking at before. Now that's that bigger thread. So this will be the size 8. So I'm going to use my bigger needle. So as I'm looking at this, what I want to do is I want to come out and put either pistol stitches or those twisted lazy days. I could come off and do something there too. I think I'm going to do those little pistol stitches coming out of here. So we start at the bottom. Let's see if we can do this in a way you can see. This is pretty thick thread. You know what? We're just going to exaggerate it. So I want to come out pretty evenly between those little straight stitches. Now I have to look at that. Is that going to overwhelm that? It kind of does. I think these stitches are going to get completely lost with that. You know, that's part of it sometimes, is just figuring out, hey, this isn't working. I'm going to pull it out. That basically gives me a knot in my thread there, so I'm just going to leave it. And we'll pull that knot out. Since the pistol stitches seem to overwhelm that, I'm going to, well, first I'm going to pin down this section that's pulling loose if I can find a straight pin. I've apparently moved them all far out of my way, so we'll just leave it for now. I'll fix it later. Let's try that twisted lazy daisy. And I think I'm going to come up, yeah, so we'll do it like this. Let me think here a minute. Got to remember what I'm doing. I want my little lines to twist over one another a little bit. There we go. And now we're going to take that right down along that stem. There, I think that looks better. I like that. I'm happy with that. And so we're going to come up and do the same thing on the other side. I'm just going to, if I can figure out where my thread is getting caught. Boy, that basting is just all pulled right out. It makes kind of an interesting little bud. We just bring it right back to that straight line. Now we'll come up and do one out here. Pardon the cat hair. And over there. Yeah. What do you think? I'm pretty happy with how that one's turning out. And the darker colors of that really show up nice against all of these fabrics so far, so that's great. Tuck all those corners in since I'm going to stitch right over it now. I'm not used to working this way with all these loose edges, and I'm feeling like I should have done a better job of securing my corners here. I'm going to come in and secure it with that stitch right there. You can see how my stitches were not super even on this, and that worked out just fine. It's going to give it that organic look I like. Sometimes you do these things and you just don't know until you actually do it what it's really going to look like. Just get an idea and have to try it. Even where these are a little close together, I'm still putting these in. Trying to make sure I get those little twists in. Some of them are more noticeable than others. I think it has to do with how far apart I put the tops. So that one would be a straight one, and I have to come over and then go through the loop. I think we're going to put one more in, and that's going to finish this seam. Well, I don't know. I think we could use one right there. Let's just go ahead and do it. All right, well that finishes that off. Let me knot it off and we'll take a look. There we go. Well, I'm pretty happy with that seam. I think that using that twisted lazy daisy stitch was the perfect complement to that. Now you could certainly come back and add French knots at all of those. There's so much more you could do with it if you wanted to. We're just leaving it the way it is, and I'm really happy with it, so I'm going to leave it And I love the way the colors worked out in the variegation. There is our stitch number 3 for October 3rd. We have one more to go for this week, and then we'll start again on Monday. If you're stitching along with me, don't forget to post your pictures to Instagram or Facebook using the hashtag CQtober 2024, and that way we can search that hashtag and get a chance to see what you're working on. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for all the kind comments and your patience with all the computer issues. I deeply appreciate it. So happy stitching! I'll see you tomorrow if the editing goes well.